Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 2 o'clock in the East on Friday, last day of the empowerment Zooms every single day this week. And even though this is the last Zoom, don't forget that the Power Week continues until Sunday. And why not? Until next week and every single week of the year, because, Power Week should be every single week of every year. So we welcome everyone and thank you all so much for your engagement, for your trust, for doing the activities that are generating income for your businesses, because that's what Power Week is all about. And I just want to real quick recognize some of you that have been active in the chat and that have shared their experiences, starting with Dale and Lou Perini. They are on their way today, I think, to Atlanta, Georgia, to take care of a family business issue, but they don't leave their tools behind. So they're bringing all the tools needed to continue spreading the word of health and wellness. And on their way, Dale met a little, like she said, jitterbug teenager, and this little bug teenager wanted to exercise. So she approached her mom with a magalog and talked about, her daughter desires to exercise, and also gave her a sport flyer. And they were both super appreciative. So that's how it is. Pay attention to your surrounding and spread the word. Also, Ivana Gonzalez continues to be very active, and she introduced to us her new consultant, Rufaro Vito, and who she met in a chain store. And Rufaro is a sales rep, and Ivana was very cordial and listened to Rufaro to tell her about his business. And then when it was Ivana's turn, she told him about Immunotech, and she did something that I learned from Randy Gage when she asked him, "You are too good doing what you're doing, so to keep doing what you hate doing." So good for you, Ivana, and also kudos to Marilyn Romero. She continues to be blown away with all the learnings this week, and I'm sure she's gonna put everything to work very soon. And Annabella went out of her comfort zone, and she talked to her pest control guy, and he told him that this was no, he told her that this was heaven sent. So hey, don't be afraid, talk to everybody. And last, Elizabeth Andrade, she used Foster's trigger point. If you're not happy with your current routine, I love to tell you about Immunotech's business opportunity. Love it. And she, told a friend, and before she knew it, they were in a Zoom together, so making things happen. So Elizabeth Andrade, congratulations, and congratulations to all of you for sharing your experiences in the chat. Keep in mind that the chat will continue to be open until the end of this month, so keep updating us with your progress, and we are sure that you're going to have a great ending for the Power Week, and of course, you'll be ready to continue growing your business in the accelerated way. So thank you for that. And Linda, take it away, my friend.
Sara, did you want to share anything before we get into the PowerPoint presentation? You're on mute, my dear.
Oh, she needs to be, there you go.
Okay.
Okay. No, it's just that this is the last day of with you, but the most important thing Alberto said, let's gonna keep going until Sunday or until the next week. And I just want to say, no, let's gonna have our life as a power life. Let's gonna do things to, let's gonna do whatever I want, whatever it's your dream every day. This is just a proof that you can, but there's always a moment that you can say, I have the power. You have the power for 1 week, for 2 weeks, for a month, for a year, but you have the power for your whole life. So let's move to that mindset. And with that, Linda, you go. So let's gonna celebrate at the end of the month, because we're having a great month.
That's right. Alberto, or will you show the PowerPoint? There you go. Alberto's blessed to have 2 screens. I have one little baby screen on my computer, so it makes it kind of hard. But we have the presentation today for you. We're talking about the actions of a winning team. So what are those actions of a winning team? Always have more customers than consultants. You know, one of the things that we learned from Randy Gage and the presentations he did at the next event was if you have 30 consultants in your business, then have at least 31 customers, 31 people who are buying products from you. This is so important to a sustainable business. And for a business to be solid, there must always be more consumers than promoters. If you think about it, if everybody was a consultant, who would you sell to? So it's so important that there's always more consumers than promoters. Now, why is this important in our industry? We can see there's about 40 billion in sales that come from this direct selling multi-level marketing industry, about 40 billion. Now let's look at how it breaks down. 40 billion sales, 6 billion, which equals about 15% of the sales, comes from consultants like you. People like you who are affiliated with a company purchase 15%, which is $6 billion of the consumable products. The other 85% come from consumers, customers. 34 billion a year is sold just to consumers. So think about it. If you're only looking for consultants, if you're only looking for associates to do the business with you, that means that you might just be leaving 85% of your possible revenue on the table for someone else, for a whole other company to come and scoop those consumers up when you know we have the best products in the industry. So let's remember that, as you're out there, if you're talking to someone that's maybe not as interested in doing the business, there's an opportunity for them to be a customer. And another thing we learned at the next was use tools for everything. You guys have been doing that. Seeing your pictures in the chat this week has been great. We have tools to train, tools to present, tools to follow up and to motivate and to sell. Your best tool is going to be on the app. Everything you have is also on the app. Why are tools important? Because they're never wrong. They never have a bad day. They never hype up the information and everyone can use them. Remember, this is not just about you doing, it's about duplicating that effort and everyone that you're bringing in doing the same thing. So if you walk out of your house and you have a bad day, it's okay. The Magalog is not going to have a bad day. It's always going to present Immunical and everything that we have to offer in the best possible light. So lean on the tools that we have. This allows your business to be replicable. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? And so aside from that, we have there was another slide here. Leave your house prepared for success. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you set foot outside your house, you want to make sure that you have your tools with you, but you want to make sure that you have one of your best assets. And that's one of the things I love about the speaker that we're going to have today, your smile. You want to make sure that you have the right attitude with you, that you have your products, that you have everything that you need, your tools, because you never know what situation is going to come your way. You never know if when you walk out that door, you might just meet the person who really needed Immunical in their life or who really needed the Immunitech business in their life. So always be prepared. And I think that's what Power Week has helped us all realize, if you did it already, to always be prepared. And now, what is another tool? Events. At All In Weekend, June 3rd through 4th in Florida, you guys, we have the option to expand, to stretch. We talk about Immunitech 3.0, and that's all about a shift in our mindset. And so guess what? We will expand that mind again. It's like when you get braces and you go to the dentist every month, right? And they tighten them. You're getting a more and more beautiful smile. That's what's happening with every event. We're tightening those skills and we're getting to a place where we are refining our abilities. So join us at All In Weekend. And with that, now it's time to talk about who our guest speaker is. This final leader who's going to share with us has been with Immunitech for over 20 years. He is on fire this Power Week with new prospects and new enrollments that are coming in. But what stands out to me about him is his heart. He's all about helping others. And that's what true leadership is all about. It's about serving other people. And although he doesn't seek the recognition, guess what? We're going to shine a spotlight on him today so he can wrap up this beautiful week for us all. So let's give a big digital welcome to Executive Diamond from Florida, David Kommers. David, take it away.
Wow. Wow, Linda, that was an amazing introduction. I mean, thank you so much. And thank you to all the regional sales team as well for having me this opportunity to be able to speak, to share some tips and tricks for this Power Week that we can all hopefully be able to take home and be able to use and improve our business. You know, when Alberto first mentioned to me the prospect of speaking, I was a little nervous. But when he said it was going to be on Friday, I was excited because you know what? Everybody loves Fridays. Fridays are the best day. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. I get to speak on Friday. And then I saw the flyer. And I'm like, wait a second here. I have to talk after Dale, after Dina, after Lou, and after the OGs, Foster and Jim. Well, I started to get nervous. But you know what an amazing week. So much that we've learned. I mean, some of my favorite points that I learned, you know, with Dina, I learned I needed to get a bigger purse. You know, that's so important. You know, my purse needs to hold the Magalogs. So I got a bigger backpack, didn't go the purse route. And every time I go by a Starbucks, I was thinking about her line of how to prospect at Starbucks, you know. So many great information there. Lou, I love the line that he said that we're not looking for an opportunity, we're looking for friends. And that's really what this business is about. And Jim and Foster on Wednesday and Thursday, they had so much great advice for all of us. So practical. Jim, I like how he highlighted that now we have new products. So it's kind of like we have a new opportunity. We have these new tools that we can take to older and active distributors and customers that we can hopefully maybe turn them into distributors, you know, really amazing. And Foster, I really like the line, you don't marry someone on the first date. And that's really what kind of led to what I'm going to talk about here is the importance of following up. Following up is such a critical part of our business and what we do. And I have a little bit of a slideshow here. So let me go ahead and share the screen here. All right, does everybody see that okay? So follow-up Friday. So for me, I always do my follow-ups on Friday. So this is the end of the week for me. So this is where I play catch up basically. So just that's my personal schedule and how I do things. So I always do all my follow-ups, check all the boxes that I missed. Friday is the day that I do it. And so we're gonna go on a fishing adventure. Dale talked about horseback riding. I couldn't find a horse to ride. The only thing I could find was an alligator. That won't work. So I decided let's talk about fishing because in Miami, fishing is very popular. My kids, they love fishing. I love taking my kids fishing, except when I have to untangle the lines, which that happens. But being able to be with them fishing is so enjoyable. And there's a lot of similarities between fishing and what we do when we are following up. And so many of the points you're going to see is really just, you know, emphasizing what we've already discussed so much of this week and how we can apply it and improve our skills in this aspect. Okay, there we go. So first of all, it's important to have the right equipment, tools. We've seen this mentioned so much. When you go fishing, you have to have the right tools. You can't just pick up a fishing rod and expect to catch something. No, you have to have the right tackle, you have to have the right lures, you have to have, you know, the right equipment. It's really the same principles when we are following up. We have to have a system for keeping track of prospects. Now, going back, you know, a long time, you know, maybe 20 years ago, most of what everybody did was they used index cards and they would file those index cards. Then it became more business cards. The problem is when the business cards, you write the notes, but the business card is so small, you couldn't see what you wrote later on when you had to follow up. So think about how awesome, how amazing it is that we have the app that we have now. I mean, we can keep track of our prospects. It shows when was the last time we spoke with them. It shows detailed history. It shows exactly what videos we showed with them. It showed what they watched. We have the ability to add notes. And I encourage you, add notes. Okay, when you talk to someone, that's critical. You need to do that. And then we have the candidate pathway. I mean, this is amazing because it really tells us step by step how to use the tools. So we don't even really have to think about it. We just have to go, okay, yes, to check, okay. And what happens if we have a no? Okay, does that mean that person is no forever? No, it's not no forever. It's no for that moment. But we need to follow up with that person later. So every time you see that no, what does it say? It says follow up when? 6 to 8 months later. So we want to take and make sure to follow up with all of those no's. We want to mentally put them in the follow up file. And when we're following up, the right mindset is so essential. You have to be positive. When you think negative, you're only going to bring about negative conversations. And this goes back to what we heard earlier this week, to be a friend, not a salesperson. So it's important for us to have this positivity. Now, I want you all to think about somebody that you presented the business or the product to, and you just, every time you see that name in the app or in your contact list, you're just like, well, forget about that person, right? You have one of those. I mean, I know we all have one of those, but we're going to do something. You're going to write that person's name down right now, okay? And you're going to now focus no longer on the negative of that person. You're going to focus on the positive and how we can have a positive follow-up with that person. And how do you do that? Well, you want to prepare. Okay, now we talked about the importance of taking notes. As much as you think after you finish talking to somebody that you're going to remember what you spoke with 6 months later, it's not going to happen. You're not going to remember. There's no way you're going to remember what video you showed them, what email you sent them. You're not going to. That's why the notes are so important. Now, also think about what Foster talked about, those trigger points. Some of the main areas that we can talk about: health, stress, family, extra income, the business opportunity. Those are all different trigger points, right? Those are all different things. So think about that individual. Think about those trigger points. Think about what you know about that individual. And then think about, well, what can I ask them? What can I talk to them about? Those are all very important things to think about. And then also think about the timing. One important thing, anytime you go fishing, is to pick the right time to go fishing. You can go fishing and there won't be a fish out there. Well, you can make all the phone calls, and if nobody's there to pick them up, they're not going to pick them up. So think about the time for that individual when you're going to call them. Think about their work schedule, what you know about them, what their family might be. Is it better to call them in the evening? Is it better to call them in the morning or in the afternoon? We're not going to get it right all the time, but put some thought into it. Try. The key is you want to be prepared. Now, the hard part, and this is hard for many of us. How do we break the ice? How do we pick up the phone and make that call? What do we say? It really isn't that complicated. It really isn't. It's just picking up the phone call, saying hello, and saying, I was thinking of you. It's really not that difficult. Sometimes we make it more complicated than that. But one thing we can do is just tell them, you know what? I was having a busy day. I was getting a lot done and I was taking a little bit of a break, and you popped into my mind. you know what? And, just the past 2 years have been so challenging that whenever somebody pops into my mind, I just want to call them. I just want to see how they're doing, and that's the reason why I called you. So I just wanted to see how are you doing? How's the wife? How's the kids? Is your son taller than you yet? I mean, mine just passed me, this year. Is yours the same? So that's all it is, breaking the ice. The key is you just want to start a conversation, and really this conversation, remember, isn't about us, right? It's about them. It's about being a friend to them. Now I'm going to use a fishing quote here, fishing line. What is chum? Okay. Who knows what chum is? Okay. Chum is when you're fishing, you drop little pieces of bait. Sometimes you use a bucket into the water. And the purpose of that chum is it attracts the fish. It gets them hungry and encourages them to want to feed, to take the bait. Okay. So when we're having our conversation, we want to do that. We want to drop little ideas and phrases that can lead to a discussion on a trigger issue. So what are some examples of how we can do this? We can say, well, what, thankfully, our family, we've managed to stay healthy during the past 2 years. We know some haven't been. How about you and your friends? You can say, well, we were able to take a family. We haven't been able to do much lately, but we were able to have some extra money and do a vacation. Have you been able to get out? You can say, you know what, it's been so hectic lately, but I've been able to spend more time with my family now because of my job. So having these little idea and phrases. Now, you don't want to gloat. You don't want to come across and say, this was the best vacation I ever took. And then the person's going to be like, I don't want to talk to you. But you're just putting out little pieces of information, some phrases to get them thinking, to get the conversation going. And that's so critical. And then you ask yourself, really, do you have their attention? See, in order to have a good conversation, it's really a two-way street, right? It's not just, you asking questions and them responding. It needs to have a good flow. It needs to feel natural. And you also want them to engage back in the conversations with you. So ask yourself, are they engaging? Are they responding to this conversation? We might have called at a bad time. It might not be a good time for them. And we can maybe pick up on that. So if they're not responding, don't feel bad. I mean, just take it. You called them, you had a positive conversation, and you can do like what fishermen do sometimes. You just pack up your stuff and move on to the next spot. You file that person away to another time. I mean, the way I look at it, and some might not, but I mean, if they don't care to ask about you or to engage in the conversation, then they don't care to know what you're saying. So you don't need to take and push the item. The whole point is to have a positive conversation with the person, as a friend. Now, what if they are engaged? And this is great. This is when you cast the bait. Now you have two different options or two different ways of doing this. When you're fishing, if you put a big appetizing piece of bait there, some fish are they're so hungry, they're just gonna immediately grab it. And that's great. And if that's the situation that this is in, you can use a direct approach. You can use the, if I, will you can use the videos, you can use the magalogs, you can, offer a sample. But what's interesting is sometimes fish, no matter how hungry they are, that piece of bait is there and they're not gonna catch it. They're not gonna try to grab it unless it's moving. The fish has to be teased. So I like this approach. I call it the tease approach. And it goes something like this. You can adjust it, at the end of the conversation. Would you do me a favor? If you think of anybody that can use some extra cash doing a side gig, or someone that wants to improve their health, would you give them my number? I can send them a few samples, but just if someone comes along like that, would you think of me? That would mean the world to me if you do that. Now, what's interesting about that is, you're telling them, I'm not going to give you a sample. I just care about your friends. And guess what happens? A lot of times you have what I call FOMO takes over. You have the person that's fearful of missing out. So like, wait a second, I want those free samples. I want to hear more. I want extra cash. I want to pay the gas, with extra cash this month. So that's a very good approach that you can use. And just, you have to kind of feel it when you have these conversations, as far as what approach that you take in the art of conversation. And how do you finish it? How do you close the conversation? No matter how the conversation went, you want to thank them for that great conversation. And you can just say, what, it was just so great talking to you and catching up. I can't wait to see you again. Maybe it'll be at a family dinner, or let's make plans to do something with the kids. Whatever the case may be, just have some nice closing words at the end to make sure that everybody knows that they had a great conversation. So that's my main points. Now this was a week of action, right? So everybody has a challenge. Okay, it's a homework challenge. We're back at school. You already wrote down one name. At least you should have. Now you have to write down two more, at least. Have a minimum of 3 people. Your challenge today is take all the suggestions that we had this week and put it to work to have a successful follow-up Friday. Thank you very much, guys.
Wow, David, thank you so much. I'm not really anyone that goes fishing, but I can tell you that I could relate to everything that you said. And like I mentioned to you earlier, I love illustrations. And the way that you shared this content with us, I could envision what you were saying, the different parts, like chumming the water. It's like, yes, you're warming up the person, right? You're warming up the conversation and casting the bait. Like everything that you shared was spot on. So thank you so much. This to me could be an even bigger class. So don't be surprised if you're ever asked again in the future, because this is such a powerful presentation. No. Spotlight is your friend. But thank you so much. You guys, it has been a powerful week for sure. Powerful. But what makes it powerful, don't forget, what has made this week powerful is you. You made it powerful. Everything that you've shared, everything that you've learned and put into action. The homework that David gave is awesome. And I think that there's going to be momentum that comes from that over the course of the next 8 days. But just think about, you are what makes the Immunotech world go round. And we are so appreciative for everything that you do every single day. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. And I know Alberto and Sara probably want to share some words as well, but just wanted to say thank you. On behalf of Immunotech, on behalf of us all, we are so impressed with the power that you put out every day. And more importantly, the power that you influence others to find. What you do is one thing, but how you help others find themselves and find their power, their action and their power is impressive. So thank you so much. Alberto and Sara?
Well, David, what a wonderful topic today. What a wonderful recap of all the golden nuggets that we all learned this week. And believe me, the follow-up topic was amazing. Every time we hear the trainings about follow-up, normally that's all we hear. You have to follow up, you have to follow up. But nobody tells you what the follow-up is about. And today you did it, my friend. And I learned so much, because at the end of the day, it's just getting to talk to people, continue the friendship. And by talking to them and allowing them to tell you about them or their families, you will hear a few things that people want or need, or a solution they're looking for. And that's your trigger right there. So congrats, David. And hey, you may be asked to speak on a bigger stage next time. So thank you so much for that. So proud of you. And guys, thank you again for your support this week on these Zooms. And of course, throughout the weeks and months, because you guys are rocking it out there. And you know, the English market is growing like crazy, and it's all because of you. And I know we're going to make a huge difference in 2022 thanks to your commitment, thanks to your willingness to share this product and business opportunity with everyone. And you know, we are all here for you, all our RSMs, JC, Sharif, even Mauricio. Our corporate team is always here for you, to support you. So keep reaching out to us, and we will continue to whatever it takes to bring you more tools and more things that can help you grow your business in an accelerated way. And we won't rest until every one of you reach your platinum level. So that's our promise to you. So thank you again. And Sarah, back to you. Oh, you need to be unmuted again? Okay. There you go.
Thank you, Alberto, and thank you, David. Linda is saying that she wants to go fishing now. I think everybody wants to go fish now. Yeah. Thank you for your experience. And at the end, this is, I mean, what we need, different talent, because we start on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday finishing like this. Is different talent that bring the team together. And when that happens, when everybody put their talents together, I mean, great things start happening. So I, for sure, that this is what is happening with this market, that great things are happening because you are a team. And there's something that I want to say, the way that this team work is awesome. I mean, it's very inspirational for us. So have a great week. Not a week, have a great life. I've been saying that the whole morning today. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for your talent, for all of you.